In the city of Ridgeway, where glass buildings rose like giants and the streets hummed with car engines, there stood a massive corporate warehouse known as Seventh Gate Distribution Center. It was the largest fulfillment hub in all of Ridgeway, with trucks constantly driving in and out, conveyor belts running day and night, and hundreds of employees clocking in to keep the place alive. Everyone in the city knew about Seventh Gate, its efficiency, its size, and most importantly, its manager, Mr. Cole Maddox. To anyone who walked through the double doors of Seventh Gate, Cole Maddox looked like the perfect boss. He carried the kind of warm smile that felt like sunlight. His words were soft and reassuring. He remembered birthdays, he bought pizza for the staff, he shook everyone's hand and always said things like, "We're a family here, we rise together." His leadership style was praised on company newsletters, and corporate even filmed a video featuring him to promote positive management across all branches. But smiles can lie, and Cole Maddox's smile was a mask so perfect that even those closest to him never suspected what hid behind it. Across town lived Tara James, a young woman in her early 20s with a determined heart. She had graduated high school but put off college to support her mother, who was recovering from a long illness. Bills were piling up and Tara needed a stable job. Seventh Gate Distribution paid well, offered health insurance and was hiring. So one cool Monday morning, Tara walked into the lobby of Seventh Gate with her resume in hand. The waiting area smelled faintly of coffee and industrial cleaner. The hum of machinery vibrated through the walls, and employees moved through metal detectors like travelers at an airport. Then a voice behind her said, "You must be Tara." She turned and saw him, Cole Maddox. Tall, well-groomed beard, neatly pressed shirt, a smile so warm it almost wrapped around her shoulders like a blanket. "Yes, sir," she said. He laughed softly. "Not Sir Cole, around here we're on a first-name basis. Titles create distance. I'm not above anyone, I'm part of the team." He shook her hand with both of his, squeezing gently as though they'd known each other for years. "Welcome to the Seventh Gate family," he said. He gave her a full tour, pointing out the packing lines, the break rooms decorated with motivational posters, the temperature-controlled storage areas, and the pristine office where records were kept. Employees passed by, greeting him with affection. "Cole is the best manager we've ever had," one whispered when he walked out of earshot. "He looks out for us," said another. "He actually listens," a third added. By the time Tara finished orientation, she felt lucky, blessed even. If every manager in America were like Cole Maddox, workplaces would feel like homes. But the truth was far darker than the bright warehouse lights ever revealed. Tara worked the late shift for the first few weeks. Cole checked in on her regularly, offering encouragement, complimenting her efficiency, telling her she had a future with the company. He even gifted her a small silver keychain engraved with the words "You're valued," a thoughtful gesture, she thought. But slowly, she started noticing small, strange things. One night Tara returned after her shift ended because she left her phone charger plugged into her workstation. The building was dim and mostly empty. Only the security lights were on, glowing pale blue across the concrete floors. The whirring machinery had grown silent, replaced by the low buzz of electricity. As she walked toward the loading bay, she heard something. A whisper. Thin, sharp, like a voice carried through static. Then another sound, a dragging scrape, heavy and slow, echoing from behind the pallet racks. Tara paused. She wasn't the kind of person to investigate creepy noises, but curiosity tugged harder than fear. She stepped quietly between the shelves and peeked around the corner. Cole Maddox stood alone in the far corner of the warehouse. But he didn't look like the friendly manager she knew. His back was hunched. His breathing sounded almost animalistic. His smile was gone, replaced by an expression so hollow it chilled her bones. And behind him moved something, slithered something, attached to his shadow like a second body crawling on the floor. Tara clapped a hand over her mouse. Cole knelt and pulled a small metal box from inside his jacket. He opened it and removed several items, an employee badge belonging to a boy from the afternoon shift, a hair tie Tara had once seen worn by another girl, a keycard belonging to a worker who quit last week. One by one, Cole placed the items on the concrete, whispering words that sounded like a corrupted version of English, distorted, glitching, like a voice filtered through broken technology. Then, using his bare hands, he started digging into the cement floor, but the cement didn't behave like cement. It softened under his touch, warping like wet clay. Tara's stomach turned. This was not normal, this wasn't human, and she realized with horror that the items he buried belonged to employees who had disappeared recently. Cole suddenly froze. Then he snapped his head sharply, as if sniffing the air. Tara ducked behind a crate, heart slamming against her ribs. The slithering shadow behind him grew taller, larger, hungrier. She didn't wait. She ran. She sprinted out the side exit and didn't stop until she reached her apartment, slamming the door shut and sliding to the floor. Her hands shook. Her breath shuddered. She told herself it could have been a hallucination, a trick of the light, stress, anything. But deep inside, she knew what she saw was real. Over the next week, more employees vanished. One morning, Marcus from quality control didn't clock in. The next night, Jada from inventory texted a coworker saying she felt like someone was following her home, then she stopped responding. On Thursday, an older employee named Henry vanished during lunch break. His lunch bag was found in the hallway, the zipper torn in an unnatural way. Workers whispered in break rooms. Rumors spread quietly, but no one accused Cole. Whenever fear arose, Cole calmed them with that same steady smile. "These things happen," he said gently. "People move on, people need change, don't allow paranoia to poison our family." And somehow, after hearing him, many felt reassured. It was as if his calmness hypnotized them. Only Tara remained uneasy. One evening on her walk home from work, she passed an elderly woman sitting near a bus stop. The woman had silver hair twisted into a bun and eyes sharp enough to pierce steel. The woman motioned to Tara. "You work at 7th Gate, don't you?" "Yes," Tara replied cautiously. The woman pointed at the silver keychain on Tara's backpack, the one Cole gave her. "Who gave you that charm?" the woman asked. "My manager," Tara replied. "Cole Maddox, he said it was for appreciation." The woman's face darkened. She reached forward, snatched the keychain and threw it into the gutter. "Hey," Tara gasped, "why would you?" "Because that man is not what he pretends to be." Tara took a step back. "Do you know him?" The woman nodded slowly. "I know what he is." The woman introduced herself as Mrs. Yona Blake, a retired anthropology professor known around town for her sharp intuition and stories about ancient spirits and legends. "I research patterns," she said. "Disappearances, behavior shifts, psychological masks. Your boss, the one everyone loves, is something old, something that has existed under different names across cultures, a spirit that survives by feeding on trust. In my field, we call it a deceiver entity." Tara's throat tightened. "You're saying he's some kind of monster?" Mrs. Blake nodded. "A spirit that shifts forms and identities. It wears kindness like a costume. It gains loyalty. And once people trust it completely, it drains life from them, quietly without leaving marks." Tara felt faint. "You've noticed the disappearances," Mrs. Blake continued. "You felt something wrong. That means you can still resist him." Tara swallowed hard. "How do I stop it?" Mrs. Blake reached into her bag and pulled out a small glass jar filled with a glowing blue liquid. "This is coded light," she said. "A rare chemical mixture used in spiritual research. When dropped onto any surface, it reveals energy signatures, truth beneath deception. Pour it where he buries those items. Everything hidden will be exposed." Tara's pulse quickened. "I have to go back there." "If you don't," Mrs. Blake warned, "more people will vanish, possibly you." Fear pricked Tara's skin, but courage grew beneath it. She couldn't ignore this anymore. That night, she returned to 7th Gate long after closing. She slipped in through the emergency exit using her employee badge. Inside, the warehouse was dark except for faint security lights flickering overhead. The air felt colder than usual, unnaturally still, like something was watching. Tara walked toward the far corner where she had seen Cole digging. The floor looked normal now, smooth concrete, freshly polished. But she remembered the exact spot. Hands trembling, she poured the glowing blue mixture from the jar. At first nothing happened. Then the ground began to ripple. The concrete dissolved like melting wax. A hole appeared, deep and filled with dozens of employee belongings. Photo IDs, jewelry, lanyards, keychains, hair clips, small personal items. Then came the sound, voices. Soft at first. Then louder, calling for help. Tara covered her ears as the voices grew, overlapping, desperate. Suddenly the lights flickered violently, the temperature dropped, and a low hiss echoed from behind her. Tara. She turned slowly. Cole Maddox stood there, his face partially distorted as though his skin were slipping. His smile was gone. His eyes glowed faintly like dying embers. His shadow stretched behind him, far too long, moving independently like a living creature. You shouldn't have done that, he said calmly, too calmly. You should have trusted me like everyone else does. You're not human, Tara whispered. Cole's head tilted unnaturally to the side. Human enough to blend, human enough to be loved, human enough to be trusted, and that is all I need. What are you doing with those people's belongings? Anchors, he replied, pieces of them, tokens to hold their essence while I drain what I need. Tara backed away. Where are they? Already part of me, he said with a smile that glitched into something monstrous, and soon you will be too. His shadow shot forward, stretching like a long black arm. Tara dodged and sprinted between shelves as metal carts toppled behind her. She ran through the aisles, knocking over boxes, trying to slow him down. But the shadow was fast. Tara, he called in a calm, almost soothing tone, running only makes this harder. She dashed into the break room, grabbed a metal chair and hurled it at the shadow. It passed through but made the shadow shudder for a split second. She kept running. She grabbed a long metal pole and jammed it into a power outlet, causing sparks to burst outward. The sparks struck the shadow, and for the first time Cole screamed, a sound so distorted it made her chest vibrate. Electricity hurt him. Fire and light hurt him. She bolted toward the loading dock exit. She grabbed the emergency fire extinguisher, aimed it at him and pulled the trigger. The blast of chemical foam hit the shadow directly, making it recoil again. Tara escaped through the door and sprinted into the night. She didn't stop until she found the nearest police patrol car. She screamed for help, telling them everything. They didn't believe her, not fully, but they saw her trembling, bleeding from cuts, covered in dust and foam, and they knew something serious had happened. Mrs. Blake arrived after Tara called her. Together they convinced the officers to investigate the warehouse at dawn. When they entered, the concrete was still warped from the mixture Tara poured. The employee belongings were still exposed. The air itself felt wrong, heavy and cold. The officers' radios malfunctioned. Their flashlights flickered. Cole Maddox was nowhere to be found. Corporate searched, but he'd vanished without a trace. No car, no clothes, no electronic trail. His apartment was empty, as though he never lived there. His digital footprint disappeared overnight like a corrupted file, erased from existence. The missing workers were declared casualties of foul play, their families grieving but finally given some closure. Tara was offered therapy, compensation, and extended leave, but eventually she returned to Seventh Gate after the company assigned new leadership. With Mrs. Blake's guidance, they cleansed the area spiritually and sealed off the section where Cole had buried the belongings. Tara became a shift leader, respected for her honesty and strength. She led not with forced positivity but with real care. One afternoon a co-worker asked her, "Tara, how come you don't smile all the time like Cole used to? You're the boss now." Tara answered quietly, "Because real leaders don't need to smile every minute. And when someone smiles too much, it may not be kindness, it may be a mask." Her words spread through the warehouse like a quiet warning. People listened. People learned. And the tale began to circulate around Ridgeway like a modern folk tale. A story parents told their teenagers entering the workforce, a cautionary tale shared during night shifts, a reminder whispered in company halls. Beware the manager who is loved too quickly. Beware the coworker whose smile never breaks. Beware the boss who feels too perfect to be real. Because somewhere in America, the deceiver entity still wanders, looking for its next workplace, its next family, its next host body, its next group of people willing to trust without question. And all it needs is someone who believes the smile,